Honestly, the goal is only $100. Well, I mean, say only $100, $100. But, because it's even later than it was yesterday. Somebody once told me, don't even, if you do a goal that low, don't even do a goal. Which usually I would do that, but I don't know. I did one anyway. Then if you don't do the goal, they'll say, oh, he's afraid of not hitting it, even though we've hit it 303, 4, whatever times in a row. So, whatever. Why is this not loud enough? There we go. Anxiety is a bitch. Yeah, well, there were some underlying causes there. Like I said, it was snowy in Vegas that day, if I recall correctly. May have snuck off to the bathroom to warm up right before this anxiety attack. Don't do that, by the way. I'm not advocating that. Yeah, I know he's been going through it. I don't know the whole details there. I think he had something with his eyes and stuff too. Again, I'm sorry we got crossed up on the time, but I'm really eager to talk to him. So. And I guess I should have double checked because I think he's 14 hours ahead. And we did have it set for 9 Eastern. But I think, I mean, not blaming him. It's up to me to always double check. But we did have it set for 9 and then he thought it was 5. Which I guess would be, let's see, time and... Actually, it's 12 hours ahead, I think. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Anyway, hello and welcome to the Kill Stream. I am the creator, the executive producer, and most importantly, the host of this program, broadcasting to you live from Merida, Mexico, the heart of the Yucatan, the capital of the Yucatan state here in Mexico. And it is 6:15 p.m. Eastern in the States, 5:15 p.m. Mexican Standard Time. So, at the urging, by the way, I'll just break this down real quick. I guess in case anybody wanted a Clio update, it's kind of become part of the show. Some things in my life do, although I'm trying to keep personal relationships, stuff like that. They're still going at me, of course, but trying to keep that stuff out. But, my cat is kind of part of the show. And so is Smoke. He's been on here before, too. But especially Cleo, especially since I moved to Mexico, actually, and used to live somewhere else here. And she started becoming a part of the show, kind of a co-host almost. And so really, especially the last 3 years, she's been a big part of the show. And we had the storyline, which was not planned in 2019, where she snuck outside. And she originated from outside when I got her. And it was 11 years ago, almost to the day, actually. And I could get the photos, Google Photos out and figure it out, but it was literally almost to the day. It was December 2014. And she was such a tiny kitten. I mean, 6 to 8 weeks. She was so small. And before, a cat expert friend of mine said she's fat when he saw the x-ray. She is more plump than she used to be. You should see pictures of her when she was younger, because I never got her spayed until that happened. And then, that caused them to gain a little weight. Also, she was a little bit older. But yeah, she is well fed. So anyway, the chat was saying I should take her. I was already thinking I should take her. And then Grok was hedging back and forth. Yes, no. I'm like, okay, Grok. You know what? Just give me the straight truth. I'm tired of your bullshit. And then Grok laid out like, and this happened during the show. I don't know if you could tell if my mood changed during the Trump speech, and I didn't give much commentary on it because I was consumed because Grok completely doom posted in an insane way and basically said your cat might be dying right now. And what are you waiting on? Let me see. I literally said, Grok, are you fucking serious? Tomorrow could be the crashing out, breathing worsens, she stops eating, becomes painful, or collapses. At that point, treatment is harder, more expensive, and outcomes worse. You've had way too many almost emergencies this month that felt like the end. This one might not be a false alarm. The positives are fragile and fleeting. Don't trust them. If she's still showing any signs of these tonight or tomorrow morning, fast breathing, hunch posture, sneezing, it's bedtime. And it might be bad news. Heart meds for life, steroids, or worse. Now, you know what the or worse means? This could be the beginning of the end of her quality of life. And then I'm like, are you fucking serious? This is during the show. I'm conversing with Grok. And then Grok says, yes. And then I'm on the way to the vet. And I said, I'm almost at the vet. Is it really as bad as you said? No, it's not as bad as the absolute worst case scenario I painted in the negative take. That was the dark, low probability scenario to make sure you didn't downplay anything. So Grok trolled me basically to make sure. Yeah, Grok, dude, I didn't read that out on air. And that's another reason I snapped on Stormer's biggest fan. He does say a lot of dumb shit in chat, but he's like, when is your next stream? And I'm like, motherfucker, like I did kind of lose it on him there at the end while the music was playing. I was like, you really asking me that? Like, I think I'm going to be streaming when my fucking cat dies. Honestly, I may have just to take my mind off of it, but I don't know if it would have been coherent. But anyway, I took her to the vet and she didn't do any of this. There's some type of, I don't smoke in here anymore. I did smoke a few cigarettes the other day. There's something here causing some type of sneezing. And smoke's been, like I told you, smoke had some sneezing too. And I don't know what it is. Now, the whole rest of the house is completely clean. I cleaned up this room some today when she got back. It's still a little bit of work to be done, but I don't know exactly what it is because he kind of sneezes every once in a while too. And I took him to the vet a few weeks ago. And, I basically didn't say much. But, so I don't know what that is. They did a full x-ray. There was no fluid on her lungs, on her heart, anything like that. You see that circled right there? That's her left kidney, even though it's on the right side of the x-ray. And that's a kidney stone. And so that's been the issue. It also causes pain. It can cause lethargy. It can cause a lot of different things. And they did the ultrasound today to see the exact positioning. And they had like the chief surgeon. Like this place is like insanely good. Even though they did kind of miss the kidney stone at the beginning, it's the same place. They have all this top-notch equipment that would literally have cost. What she stayed overnight at the vets. They did blood work. We did the ultrasound this morning. They did x-rays last night. They did urine analysis. They actually got the urine this time straight from her bladder while I was there, which I hated seeing that. She did not enjoy that. But so they're going to run urine tests. I don't have any medications they're going to give me just yet because they want to tailor it to her specifically. And so they did all that for about $80. Now, whenever I get the medicine, it'll probably be another, $80 or whatever, depending on what it is. And I bought, so I've been telling you about this cat food. The other one was urinary tract, whatever. And it's like the veterinary prescription. This is renal support. And I think they have another renal one that can dissolve the stones. Now, it depends on what type of stone it is, whether it can be dissolved or not. And also the urine analysis can study for like basically crystals in there too. So they said give her this and keep the other food too. There may be a mix of the two. They did do another ultrasound on her bladder. Her bladder was inflamed last time, the bladder walls, and she didn't know if there's anything inside there. The bladder is no longer inflamed. The walls are thin like they're supposed to be. So it looks like it's the kidney stone. She also has something called Aero erythroto. I can't say that fucking word. I'm not gonna lie. I've never had it's an excessive production of blood cells, actually. Red blood cells specifically. Say it.
Erythrocytosis.
Erythrocytosis. So that is, like I said, this she's producing too many red blood cells, and so don't really know if that's related to this, but it's another weird thing. I think I looked it up. Let me see. Erythrocytosis, kidney stone. Yeah, so it is. I think it is. It can be related, but anyway, the good news is, they said the stone was in a place where, if they needed to operate on her to take it out, they're gonna try to manage it with food and medication at first, and they seem to think that could get it to dissolve, basically. Um, and then or become, be manageable, one or the other. The next option is surgery to take it out. Now it's in a place in her kidney. Sometimes it's not in a place where you can take it out. You just have to remove the kidney. And the last option is to remove the kidney, because then she'd only have one kidney, and it'd be put under a lot more stress. And it's better to have, a kidney that has a couple issue or two with it that's still working, versus just having one. So that's only something they do if it's like infected or something like that. So that could be possible. The doctor messaged me. I didn't see it. The overnight doctor's a guy, and they said he couldn't speak English. He can, though. So my lawyer went up there with me. He's also my good friend. So he sat up there with me at midnight before we got out of there. But he didn't have to do much translating at all. Because the other day I tried to go up there, and they're like, oh, you have to wait for the English-speaking doctor. And I was kind of pissed off about that. I'm like, okay, I got a translator app, da-da-da. It is a lot easier when they speak English on these complicated situations, so I understand. But I was like, I was really worried about my cat. So anyway, the doctor did great. Kept her overnight and did the x-rays. I didn't really want to leave her, but I just thought that'd be easier, and they was able to space out the blood draws and the ultrasound. And they didn't do the ultrasound until I came there this morning. And they have a name for it, but they stick a needle in her bladder and suck the urine out of it. And they got a whole draw full. So they said those results should come in today or tomorrow, and then I'll go up there and pick up whatever medication they have her. So that's the Cleo update. They seemingly think the prognosis is good. So I don't know what to say other than that. Obviously, I'm still monitoring this situation, but it was a long night. And then, she ate almost a whole can of this renal support food. So she does enjoy that. And I'll keep you guys updated on everything. I got a lot of well wishes. And I thank you for that as well. So anyway, we do have a show today. And I guess we got 3 minutes. We'll see what time Dawson's supposed to pop on in 3 minutes. We'll see if he makes it right at 3 minutes or not. But I'll look at the chat here in a second. Oh, yeah. We do have a goal. It's a small goal. Like Cleo used to be a small cat. So I almost thought about not doing a goal, like I said, but whatever. They say shit no matter which way you go. But really, if I hadn't had this interview today, I might have just not done a show. honestly. But I did have that set up, and so that's really why I'm here, because I kind of would just probably be hanging out with Cleo, even though I've been doing a lot of that lately. But yeah, powerchat.live/the Ralph Retort. Many ways to support the show. Powerchat.live/the Ralph Retort. Rumble Ranch. You can gift Rumble subs, which is a great way to do things. You can also subscribe yourself, and you can use Cash App $ Sunset Squad. And I forget if I mentioned this, but they did all the, yeah, I did mention it, $80. And I talked to a cat expert, and he said that would have been $3,000 minimum in the United States. So when I say the vet industry is a complete scam, I mean, they do good. They're good vets, and they do good work. You know, I'm not downing, you know, the quality of care. I've had great vets in the United States. Well, not for me, for my animals. But even though they call me the rage hog or whatever, no, I've never actually went to a vet for my own personal health. But I know a lot of great ones, but the prices, I mean, some people just have to watch their animals die because they don't have the money. They might not have the money. They're living paycheck to paycheck themselves, much less dropping $3,000 on an overnight stay for their cat, even if they love their cat. And, you know, they talk about surgery like not like it's no big deal, but like it's, you know, a manageable cost here. Because if it wasn't, nobody would go to the vet at all. And so they're gouging Americans. And the Americans who don't have the money to pay for it just have to watch their animals die. And they don't do it like that here. So, and I had somebody, you know, that, excuse me, you know, you assume they don't make as much money. But she said, I wonder if they do that and actually end up making just as much money as the American vets. I mean, probably not, but, you know, more money than you think, because people are more likely to take their animals to the vet if it's a reasonable price, which had not occurred to me. And that actually makes sense. Now, Mr. Dawson is here. Give me 1 second, and I'll let him in. All right, give me 1 second. I'll pull you over to the screen, sir. They can't hear you just yet, by the way. I can hear you and see you though. Give me just 1 sec. I was just explaining my my cat journey the last couple of days. Okay, well, actually, the last few weeks. Now, let me center this right here. All right, now you're on screen, and now you can be heard. Welcome back to the Kill Stream, Brian Dawson. It's great to have you here. How you been?
Been a while.
It has been.
Massey said they're going to release Epstein files tomorrow. We'll see.
Well, they put out some today. I guess the Democrats selectively released some stuff. I don't know if you saw the picture of Bill Gates with some youthful-looking woman. I couldn't tell if she was a...
It's all old news to me,
Yeah,
but, you know, like if they if they release... See, a lot of these were out there already, but you have to put them all somewhere, and they need like an authoritative person to say, look at these. But I mean, the victims will tell you who were raping them. Like, I don't know. It's also, tomorrow would be the anniversary of Jean-Luc Brunel getting arrested, because I got that on my calendar here. Cheap plug. Mick Foley level cheap plug, you know?
Where can you purchase those calendars?
A&C Report.
There you go. I know there's a 2026 edition coming out, I'm sure.
This is the 2026 one. Yeah,
I
got the Confederate flag, beanie chicks, and all that. So. Pisses off the feminists.
Does it ship to Mexico? International shipping?
Mexico and Canada, yeah.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna purchase one because I almost bought one last time.
I think you got one back when when Syrian Girl was.
I did
February,
actually,
or whatever she was.
Now that you remind me, and then we tried to get you on last fall, and then actually that was all my fault. I was kind of in the throes of some personal peccadillos, I guess you could say. But I'm glad to have you back. You've been on the show a lot. And actually, I think you were on the day after Epstein, quote unquote, killed himself, committed suicide. I believe it was either the day of or the day after. You know, we talked about all kinds of things, NUMEC and JFK, 9/11, just everything you can imagine. Israel obviously always comes up.
Did you notice I'm wearing maroon?
You knew where I was.
Send all aid to Israel, but
you knew where I was
maroon.
going then, huh? Okay, so
bonjour.
yeah, you knew exactly where I was headed. So I've been around for a while. I'm not an expert on these topics like you are. I know a good bit about them, but you are an expert on these topics and been talking about this stuff for a while. We've had a lot of other anti-Zionist voices on the show. Pretty much, I'd say 85% of the big anti-Zionist people have been on the show at some point in the past 10 years. And also pro-white people too, just in general. But there's a new crew out there. Candace Owens, I guess you'd have to put.
I gave her a Native American name,
oh, yeah?
which she should be honored, to get a Native American name. Her native name is Brown Pig.
Well,
she looks just like a brown pig.
They keep using the term Fed slop. I said this is inappropriate. People shouldn't say nog slop, but I did say that yesterday. Just retarded bitch slop, I guess, is even more appropriate.
It's like QAnon 9/11 kook movement level stupid. It's the exact same people.
Yeah, no, it literally is. And it's not just her.
It's an Egyptian plane.
Oh, she did it. We're gonna go through it probably after you leave, but I was watching some of her show. We've been live sniping it today. I got on air late because of Cleo, and I was at the vet and stuff like that.
She's just reading the teleprompter.
Yes.
If people are kind of wondering, is she lying or is she just dumb and she actually believes this? She's lying. They'll get tips and they just run with it, because one of her most popular videos prior to the Charlie Kirk killing was saying Bridget Macron had a penis, which was started by some spirit medium in France. Some woman, so stupid. She's had 3 biological kids. It's a woman. Not that I like the Macrons, but come on. And it had like 7.4 million views. So she realized just doing Alex Jones level retarded shit is great for the circus, but it's not great for society. Like, yeah, you'll get clicks, and my analogy to that is like, yeah, you'll get a lot of views if you add Down syndrome F1 racing. It'll be epic, but it's immoral. You'd watch that.
I was gonna say, you're kind of selling me on that, actually. Don't go any further, because
you give him some roll cages and airbags. Like
they signed the waiver, waving, and he lost it, right?
Maybe capped it at 35 miles an hour or something.
Yeah, maybe so they don't die, just break a few bones or something like that. That would be awesome.
Racing's already a redneck left turn.
But
like, people would definitely tune in, and it's just like I know this is overused analogy, but that movie Idiocracy, like there's a TV show inside the movie called Ouch My Balls, where they just go around and kick a dude in the nuts. We're there. That's where we are with Egyptian planes and maroon shirts.
Actually, that sounds like that would be an improvement. I think we've slid past, right? Like it's even like that would be wholesome compared to what's going on with Candace. And I want to talk about a few of these other people too. But
reading like tweets between Charlie and his ex-girlfriends before he got married. What are you doing, bitch? Like, these people, we came up with the term smigrant from Barry Weiss. And I did a 7.5 hour woodshed on Barry Weiss, because every other word out of her mouth's a lie.
Right.
She's just like smug and ignorant. Candace says the dumbest shit with the utmost confidence. It's amazing. And she's just reading. That's why her intonation is like, well, today, I don't know. I feel in my dream. Shut the fuck up. Like, you fucking noob. You were a hardcore Zionist your entire adult life. And then suddenly you woke up on one issue. But I'd rather her not be, because she makes the anti-Zionist faction look retarded. More than the people like praising Hitler and Stalin and all that, because they're just doing edgy shit to get attention. They don't really believe that. She is saying this stuff like, there's international assassins from the French. Like, they're trying to silence me. I still haven't monetized YouTube, but they're trying to kill me. And their fans are like, it's all light switch brains, to steal a term from Mike Enoch. It's official story or Candace cult with nothing in between. And they were the same way on 9/11. Unless you say bomb on every floor, then you believe the official story and jerk off George Bush or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if you know how far back I go with Candace Owens. I actually kind of created the monster here in a way, and I did a show with Colonel Kurtz yesterday. It's almost lost. Some people who were around then know, but even some people who were around then don't know. I don't think we had talked at that point. It's 2016. I was in Gamergate. She came out with this website called Social Autopsy. Now, both sides were shitting on her. Pretty much, she was getting shit on universally. But I noticed she started attacking Zoe Quinn and Randy Harper. And those were two big anti-Gamergaters. And I was like, these people are short-sighted on the Gamergate side, throwing her under the bus. We could actually, a crafty person, could actually fashion it as these two privileged white feminists. Now, this is, pure propaganda, pure sleazeball turn, really, a narrative spin. But these two privileged white feminists who have faked harassment before, now they're attacking this young, black, attractive, if you think so. Some people do, some people don't. Female. No. But that was the spin. And I did a couple interviews with her, and basically we switched the story. At least on the Gamergate side. And some people are still mad about that to this day, and I guess they're even more mad now, if they even know about it, which a lot of her fans don't. Most of them don't, as a matter of fact. And she stayed around for a couple more months, and then she went away. And she came back in 2017 as Red Pill Black. And quite clearly, she had gotten...
Exit.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, right? Now, quite clearly, she was a leftist. She had a degree 180 was the website she wrote. And it's not that you can't go from the left to the right. I did the same thing, but it happened over the course of like a decade. You know what I mean? And I still have some leftist views here and there that whatever. I don't think it's easy to slap a label on me. Yeah, I guess I'd say dissident right, but like kind of moderate dissident right because of those views that I still hold. Trump on marijuana today. I know some people didn't like that, but I did. But
what do you do?
He moved it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which basically will allow some of these. They deal in cash
only. I think
only.
The whole reason we have like a faction of flat earthers and Candace cults is because of weed.
Yeah, well, I don't smoke weed now.
You can get that dumb naturally.
Yeah, I actually I smoked weed for almost 25 years straight with like a 3-year break because I was on probation, and I just stopped. Like, and I do think, it's less harmful than alcohol, but that's not,
So it affects everyone differently. So
yeah, that's true.
Like it definitely is not an improvement on just being sober.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Like comparing something bad to something worse doesn't justify it.
Well, I was going to say rat poison is less harmful than alcohol too. So I mean, there's a lot of different things that are less harmful than alcohol. I will say it does sap your drive. It is addictive as well. No matter what, I used to always say it's not addictive and while I was smoking 6-7 joints a day. And so, but it's not addictive. What do you mean? Yeah, no, it definitely is. That's complete hogwash. But
I'm kind of indifferent on all that stuff. Like I don't do drugs, but I don't really care what someone else does. It's just when there's certain people who should not drink at all because they just can't handle it. And believe it or not, there's certain people who should never smoke weed either. Like most people can just have wine with dinner, but it doesn't affect their life. And a large chunk of people smoke pot. It's not really that detrimental to them. But there are some that get really fucked up by it, like go full schizophrenic and stuff just from weed. And the ones who aren't affected are like, no, that didn't happen to me, so it doesn't happen to anybody. It's like, okay, that's like someone that drinks and doesn't believe in alcoholics because they're not one.
Well, and
it's a drug.
There's studies out there that shows it can activate basically latent schizophrenia and stuff like that. And so it's definitely not harmless. But I got derailed. So anyway, I still have the whole. I'm against prohibition of any sort because I think it's a waste of police resources. Not for any moral reason. I just think you can't really stop unless you go full totalitarian. And even then, there's drugs, just a lot less of them. You
There's
can't
drugs
really,
in jail.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. There's always going to be drugs as long as there's a profit motive. It's always going to be there, and that's why I have that position. But anyway, my shift was gradual, over years and years and years. Hers was, she did go away for whatever 6 or 7 months, but quite clearly she got the idea from what we did, right? And she's like, okay, I see. I'm not going to be able to do it on the left. Let's do it on the right. And she came back, and actually, I think you know this. I had to go to jail one time, and she sent me. She sent me not once, but this one time was the long one. And she sent me this DM and thanked me for being there. It was her and I against the world at that time, and all this and that. And now she is what she is, and I have people in my mentions saying I work for the Jews. Your $7,000 has been deposited, and I'm like. And most of them are like new facts, not even the word, like just totally wet behind the ears, or some dumb ex-housewife, right? Probably some divorcee. There are some actual housewives in the mentions, and they're talking about this. They're calling me Zionist, and which they probably just heard that word.
I don't think anybody has put out more material, documentaries, movies, books, videos, like anti-Israel than myself.
I don't either.
Like, other people talk about it, but like, I made a movie about NUMEC. I made a movie about 9/11. I went in to every detail and got into their crimes. A lot of people learned about the Lavon Affair and USS Liberty from me. So these people being like, oh, you got a $7,000 check. Oh, fuck you, man. Like, I'm wearing End All Aid to Israel today. I pretty much wear that or fuck Israel every day. They are the most disgusting terrorist state in the world. But that doesn't mean you can start talking about trap doors and bees and Egyptian planes and a covert mission where they color coordinate their t-shirts. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, these aren't really questions. Like, oh, it can't be Tyler Robinson, not the guy on film on the roof with the gun, not that guy. It's got to be anyone else, because he wrote vehicle in his message.
Which he also,
even though he's on film saying vehicle to cops, like they found that too. Gamers talk like that. Like GTA players, there's a vehicle there, whatever. It's so stupid. Like, all the DA would have to do is subpoena the phone records, and if those messages aren't there, Tyler Robinson walks. Like, those are real messages. He's there with a fucking rifle. His own family turned him in, which Candace denied. She's like,
she denied that today.
That's not true. The mom and dad turned him in.
She denied that again today. I saw that part. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say that. She always says she didn't say stuff that she said. And it's not just that. It's Bridget McCrone as a dick. She denies the moon landing. Of course, her following all do that too. She's like, why didn't we go back? We went back 5 times, dumbass. 12 different people have walked on the moon. She's agnostic about the shape of the earth. Maybe it's flat, maybe it's round. God damn. It's just like, but it's a huge following. I swear, if there's a psyop, I don't think this is it. I think she's just a dumb cunt. But the psyop would be getting a prominent, like, ex-Daily Wire person to be anti-Israel and then say the dumbest shit in the world to make us all look crazy.
I agree with that 100%. And I don't actually think that, because but it makes a lot more sense than anything she's been saying, actually, right? Like, I
mean, whoever's handling her and writing her shit on her teleprompter, like, they got their own motives. She's just there, token black chick, reading a teleprompter. She didn't know what she said today. She didn't know what a canine was.
Yeah.
She thought it was like a type of dog that sniffs drugs. Like, all dogs are canines, you stupid bitch. Like,
feline would be the cat
right
name for that. But yeah, she also she got Tucson right today. I didn't see all the interview part, but I saw up until that because I had to get my own show ready. But she was calling it Tucson 2 or 3 days in a row, and I'm like, are you even like, how do you get that wrong and be in America? Like, I don't get that. She claims to write her own scripts, and there are no teleprompters, and it's quite obvious she's reading off a teleprompter. Now, sometimes you can tell she freestyles, but for the most part, she's reading off a teleprompter. And I called this out the other day, and she claims she's not, but you can tell by the way she's like, just how she's looking at the camera. You can see her reading it. And so I guess when I really got activated, I was kind of just laughing at her there for a couple months, like a comedy routine almost. But then it turned into, and Ian Carroll's a part of this too, that
Mhm.
if you're against what Candace is doing, if you're mocking this, if you're even attacking this, which I really wasn't at that point.
Why don't you
then-
want us to ask
Yes,
questions?
yes.
You're not asking questions. You're making assertions. You're saying Tyler was not the shooter. That's not a question. That's an assertion. You're saying the messages are fake. That's not a question. That's an assertion. You make a whole bunch of assertions with no evidence. And then you're like, well, what are the planes? I don't know. I think we just need to just throw shit at the wall everywhere and see what sticks. Like, no, that's not how you do research. But these people don't know how to do research. They've never done research. They get tips from kooks like Ryan Mata and shit, just say like the dumbest crap in the world and then run with it. Today, they were talking about more retarded stuff like, well, have you seen an SUV? And like just anything other than the guy on the roof with the fucking gun. And they're like, well, a neck can't stop a bullet. It's like no one's saying his neck stopped the bullet. It went down his torso, you stupid fuck. And you know that. And you just keep acting like it was shot from ground level in the front and had to stop at the back rather than from above going down. It went down his body. There's no exit wound. So it has to be in his body. There's no reason to lie about that. Even if it was a patsy and it was set up, you could just have it enter one side and come out the other. Why not? It didn't.
It doesn't really make any sense. And
And they compare it to JFK. I'm like, you don't know shit about JFK. I guarantee I've forgotten more about JFK than Ian and Candace, that whole crew has ever studied about that. They're just like, Oswald was a patsy. I'm like, okay. Yeah, he was. But you don't know anything about that event.
well,
You press them on it, they can't defend it.
well, she also keeps saying that Charlie Kirk, not to disrespect Charlie, and I'll read some of these super chats here in a second. I wasn't a huge fan. I did think he kind of turned a little corner there in some ways I liked, but I always kind of thought of him as a bit of a stooge, honestly. Running his little operation for the GOP. Which I don't give a fuck about the GOP or the Democrats.
Mhm.
So, he was doing what he was doing and said some good things and some bad things. And he definitely shifted in a harder right direction the further things went along. But that was because they were kind of trying to neutralize the alternative media, right? And soak up their talking points and soak up their fans. But she keeps calling this the biggest political assassination since JFK, and that's just not true. First off, Robert Kennedy himself, and then Martin Luther King Jr., who was also shot with a .30 caliber round and did not have an exit wound either. He's shot from above, like you said. That this is a totally different thing. It's different than shooting a deer or shooting a fucking metal. Whatever.
It hit
the
his
fuck.
chain too, so it probably flattened out right then.
Yes, that's actually what I watched a video on. They said that's what happened. But anyway, it's not kooky at all to say. Now you could say, well, 30-06 should do this, should do that. Well, if you actually talk to somebody who's not trying to fully grift, or some of these people, maybe they do believe it, right? But there's plenty of experts who don't, and can
it's
explain
an
why.
assumption even that it's a 30-06 because the shells that he wrote messages on were 30-06, so probably it was, but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
By the way, I see and again,
Until you get it out of his body, you won't know.
I see Adam Green in the chat. These shills trust the Fed slop. Yeah, he's another
That's
guy.
sarcasm.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, he doesn't think that.
I know that. And I need to get him on soon again too. I'd love that.
You know what's funny is like you, me, Adam, Fuentes, like we all can agree on this.
Yes.
This is the dumbest shit ever.
Well, that's what I said. And then I got another comment, actually from a longtime viewer of mine. They're like, what are you doing? You're agreeing with Gabe Hoffman and Zionists. And well, first off, a broken clock can be right twice a day, right? And it is. And so they
didn't blame it on a Palestinian or Iranian.
That's right. Yeah, it would have been a Muslim shooter if it would if that would have been the case. But at the
Like,
beginning,
oh, a tranny shot someone out of school. Has that ever happened before?
well, that's the other thing. I think it's an interesting kind of coalition, especially on in our corners here, where a lot of the OGs, pretty
Well, I
much
do
all
have
of
a
them.
conspiracy about it. Not like Candace, and I don't think it was the French or the Israelis or the Egyptians or any of that. But I think Tifa cannot be cleanly separated from intel agencies. And because it was odd that a whole bunch of people were writing on Discord and Twitter that Charlie is going to die tomorrow prior to him being shot. So more than just Tyler knew. A whole bunch of those faggots knew what was about to happen, which technically makes it a conspiracy.
Yeah, and I've actually heard that too. And
I mean, I
was
saw
chatting.
it. I saw that.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
was
what is
chatting.
this? This is weird. I had just made a music video of Charlie Kirk and Patrick Starry David like having butt sex with Israeli flags and stuff. Like just before he died. I saw Charlie in Korea when he came to Seoul. I called him a Zionist faggot, and I kind of regretted that for about 10 minutes, and then whatever, that's what he was. He never turned down money from Netanyahu either, like 150 million. Like, no, it's the opposite. He never told Jewish donors he didn't want their money. They told him they didn't want to donate to him as much as they did the prior year, because the prior year was an election year for Trump. And that's normally the course, that you give less on an off election year than on an election year. There's nothing surprising. And nobody can accuse me of being shy of conspiracy or shy of bashing Israel. Like, this is all I do my whole life. This one just doesn't fit.
Yeah, and that's what really got to me, where it's like, if you're making fun of this, or if you're questioning this, or just saying this is bullshit, then you're a Zionist, and you're getting the 7K deposit, and
you had to be Spider-Man to get up there. Right. All you had to do is walk up the step. Well, that's just walk up. You can do it with no arms. Somebody pointed that out, and it's just, it doesn't matter. They just move the goalpost. The next dumb shit. It's just like the no planers on 9/11. It is exactly like that. He's like, well, a plane couldn't fit an 18-foot hole. And like, that's the exit hole, not the entry hole. Well, how about this? How about this other thing? They like fucking acknowledge your first point was wrong before you move to the next one. They don't do that.
No, she never does that. And it's so bad that even Alex Jones was shitting on her yesterday.
Dude, that's low. Like when Alex Jones is like, "Hey, back up."
He literally
you're in crazy down. Like,
he literally did. He like cut a promo on her, and I was like, "Wow, okay."
His rhetoric was more believable,
Yeah, I agree.
It wasn't as like, because he mixes it with truth. She just brown pig is way out there.
All right, let me read some of these super chats, then we'll move along to Ian Carroll, because I kind of got into it with him. He responded to me on Twitter. I forget the post now.
He's wearing the Epstein shirt that I made on her show.
Well, he took your whole. Anyway, we'll get.
It doesn't actually know that issue.
Well, I dinged him because I saw something you said underneath another tweet, and you said Ian Carroll, and I'm about to read these before we get into it fully. Ian Carroll was doing a lot better. Yeah, Ian Carroll was doing a lot better when he was just repeating what I said, right? When he was doing a lot better. And so
he got on Rogan. He was talking about Epstein and dancing Israelis and all. Like, you're Ryan Dawson light, and you're at the Pinnacle podcast. But it's not that he doesn't know anything about those issues. He knows some, but he's not on my level, and he's never going to be.
Well, and I wrote a version. I had something else in the screenshot. I'll pull it up here in a second when we get to it. But I wrote another. I was like, basically what you said. I kind of rephrased it. And you could tell it bothered him a little bit, enough to respond to me, which I dinged him a couple times before, and he didn't respond. But he did respond to that one. So I'll take my inspiration there from you. Ryan and Ralph reunited. Let's go. And it's a song. Maybe I'll play that there at the end, if you don't mind, Jay Danks Respecter. I wish I was in Dixie there.
There you go.
I was in Dixie.
Oh, I have that in Japanese.
No shit.
It's great.
I was in Dixie.
It's Japanese schoolgirls singing Dixie, and like, this is the greatest thing ever made.
Yeah, I was there.
They did that on their own.
November. I was back in Tennessee and Nashville and Memphis. Now, so, different vibe there in Memphis. But okay, now let me go back.
Do you remember when the Ukrainians in the Donbass saying Dixie in Russian?
I actually did see that. Yeah,
That was peak.
Dawson Hijacker says this. Did Ryan get to the Nazi themed bar in Korea before it got shut down? Shut down, not shot down. I don't want to sound like Candace. Israel literally threatened sanctions to get it shut down. I did not hear about that.
I've been to the Nazi bar in Japan. I never went to one in Korea. That was closed. The one that I know of, I don't know if there's another one, but that one was closed like 3 years before I ever came to Korea. The one in Japan is open now, but during COVID that was shut down so like a lot of people came to visit could only see the door and not go in. But they're not like celebrating Nazis. It's just like a theme. There's a vampire bar right next to it. It's not like they advocate running around sucking blood. It's just like to them fun. Like it's like Vikings or pirates, Nazis. It's just like a cool theme to them. They were tag team partners, you know.
Yeah, they were. They were a tag team. I guess they had a shot at the title there. Fell a little bit short. But yeah, there's some enthusiasm.
There is a Holocaust museum in Korea. Eric Hunt was out here. Actually, I should say. But anyway, I already did. He was out here. But it's just like it's nothing. It's like some chairs and a projector in a room. And they did that just to get money. Like, if we do this, they'll give us money, right? If we say it's a Holocaust museum.
And it worked. I imagine.
Yeah, they got a grant.
By the way, I do see a chat. This is a regular chat, and I'll go back to the supers in a second. Adam Green says, Ian glazes Ryan, but Ryan still criticizes him. I love it. Yeah, I noticed he never says shit about you. He's only said good things about you. And you're one of the ones calling this shit out, actually, but he kind of
I've never said anything bad about him until the Candace thing. I'm like, because I'm like, I don't think he's that stupid, so it has to be on purpose. He's just like, well, that's his boss or something. I don't know, but there's no way he really believes this. He keeps saying the same shit like a net can't stop a bullet, and I'm like, it went down his torso. No one's saying it next. That's a straw man. You've been corrected on that many times, and you just keep saying it anyway. And I don't know. I'm really disappointed in him.
Well, I don't think he's that dumb either. And even Candace, I don't think is that dumb.
Yeah, she is.
Well, I mean, she is, but she knows this shit's not true too, right? Like, this is just.
She's got to know the maroon shirt shit's not true.
Yeah, come on.
You have to. Like, look at how stupid. Like, she took pictures of just like regular people who are wearing maroon and put them on her YouTube.
Yes.
Implicating them as like some part of the shooting or part of the cover up or whatever, part of a crime. I hope you get sued. I hope you get sued. Like,
I'm going to sound, she probably will actually. I'm going to sound.
The Macron shit's the dumbest. Like, Chinese face recognition software thinks her and her brother looked alike when they were kids. Yeah. I probably looked like my sister when I was a kid and she was a kid. Like, whatever. The brother is still alive and in the defamation lawsuit against the other with the spirit medium and that other lady. That is so stupid. But she's like 7.4 million views. I mean, that's a lot of money. So she just keeps saying dumb shit. And it's weird because any of us that did stuff like that on YouTube would lose
we're
our channel,
gone,
right?
dude. If we put people's faces out like that and said, locate these motherfuckers or start asking questions.
Like, look at these people wearing shirts. They were probably part of the shooting.
You're out of there.
No way.
You're out of there. And she did this to some, I don't know, former Jewish Israeli, actually.
It's like, well, this airborne division has maroon berets. Okay.
Well,
so
that's
not a connection.
Look, I'm going to sound conspiratorial again, but why wouldn't they just kick her off YouTube? Like, she's a useful tool, I think, for certain interests. Whether she's doing that
she
at
makes
their
the
bidding,
anti-Zionist movement look retarded. And it's just like it sucked all the air out of the room. Like, I just made this bombshell 9/11 documentary, but then Charlie Kirk was killed September 10th. So I waited till October 7th to release it. Thought that was the second best day. But it's just Kirk. That's all anyone's talking about. I'm like, man, it's a faggot on the roof. That's it. It's not complicated. Like, he's not JFK. We did not have film of Oswald with a gun, like leaving the premises at all. There was none of that. And you had his brain going out the back of his head, showing somebody shot him from the front. The pathologist did say he was shot from the front. Like, but the pathologist here is saying, no, he's hit here and it went down. But you know, Andrew Klovic or whatever, Kolvik, whatever, faggot, is not helping things by saying he had Wolverine bones and stuff. It's a miracle. But that appeals to that like holy roller dispensationalist Christian crowd that thinks like, yeah, Charlie stopped the person behind him from being shot in his last act of grace or whatever.
Because he was blessed by Israel. He was blessed by Israel with Wolverine bones. And I said the same thing. I was like, they're really TPUSA at almost every turn has helped Candace by saying dumb shit and rolling Erica Kirk out, who's really not ready for prime time.
They're just they're a smidgen smarter than her. These people are dumb as fuck, you know, and they all support Israel. Erica Kirk didn't change her tune on that. None of them did. They're all because that's how you get money. Like the bulk of their donations, Doug McGregor pointed this out, like tens of millions of dollars comes from hardcore Jewish Zionist donors. So they get out there with Beneside Shapiro and the rest of it, and they're arguing with people. But what was funny was Charlie came to Korea and then he went to Japan, and he's just like, in Seoul, they have these giant like pink balloon couches that you can jump on, like trampolines and stuff. He's like, this wouldn't last 35 seconds in America. Like, yeah, someone would stab and pop it just to be a dick, right? But not here. Why is that? Because it's not from religion. You know, that's dead in this side of the world. It's because there's civil society, and you don't need make-believe to scare people into behaving. But what they have in the United States, you got to, you know, joggers and everything else. They just fucking ruin everything. They let people in and out of jail like 14, 15 times until they stabbed some to death. So that was the major story before Kirk got shot, was Arena on the bus in Charlotte getting we have momentum on this. We got to clean up these judges and put some of these crazy people in jail and keep them there. But that all got bumped because of Charlie. And Charlie should have been, once they caught Tyler and all that should have been that. And then there's a trial. But Candace, you can see, I hate Barry Weiss and I hate Erica Kirk. But when they were talking, like, why are people saying these things? It's like, Candace, like the whole reason people are talking about Egyptian planes and stuff. Google Trends, that was verifiably wrong. Like, if you type this in and you write France, there's a spike in July because they had a meeting and da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not true. You can go to Google Trends, you can type in Tyler's name and Kirk's name, and it appears in September. It does not appear in July. But it doesn't matter. They just say it loudly on a big channel. You can debunk it, but no one checks that. They don't know you can just Photoshop a screenshot and write July instead of September. But if you go to Google Trends and actually test it, you'll see there is no spike or mention of these names when they said they were. Not from France, not from the United States, not from anywhere. And people like Jimmy Dore were like putting the Photoshop picture in their video. I'm like, Jimmy, what the fuck?
He's went off the reservation, bro. Dude, he's totally. I'll tell you why, for money. Because I also don't think he's that dumb either. And he's definitely not that dumb, and he's saying it anyway. He's rabid about it too. I watched his video this morning. I've been watching him a lot these past couple weeks, and I actually didn't know he was all in on this until the past couple weeks because I don't watch him all the time. And I'm like, wow, in some ways, he's more rabid than Candace. Like, I'm sitting here watching him, and I'm like, what in the world? And anyway, but who in their right mind thinks Candace Owens, say it was some international fucking multiple nation plot, you know, whatever. Who the fuck thinks Candace Owens and her mommy sleuth army are gonna crack the fucking case? Like, this is,
we're so close.
Retarded.
We're getting close. Yeah. Like, you're getting further and further away with every added.
Actually, when she came out, and I wasn't, you know, convinced anyway, but I was like considering, you know, maybe Israel, you know, there were some texts there. Who knows?
I can see the Israelis farming that out to an expendable, but you're never going to have a Mossad agent on the roof. That's fucking stupid. There are plenty of people who want to kill Charlie Kirk. trannies or whatever that you can groom and use as an expendable shooter so it doesn't go back to you. Like if a state was going to do it, that's how you do it. That's how they've done it in the past. That's not what they're saying. They're acting like he was framed and wasn't there and didn't shoot him. And like, yeah, he did. He did. He's there with a fucking gun on the roof. Like where? It's in a black towel. It's on film. They just deny it.
He's walking down the street on a Ring camera or something. They got a video of that too on the way to the campus. All right, let me read through some of these, and we'll get back to this.
And they have the gun, and they have the palm print, and they have it. Like, there's so much evidence that he did it, and he fucking confessed. Like, what more would you like? Well, they have to have him on film taking the shot. That's the only thing they'll accept.
Well, and
it's just like the Pentagon. It's like you have an airplane-sized hole, you have debris from the plane, you have DNA from all the passengers that were on that plane, except for the baby, and dental records and so on at Walter Reed, and their black boxes there, and da da da. But they didn't see it. It's like so it doesn't. All that other evidence doesn't matter. They need a high def, slow motion like movie shot. Even then, nowadays it's like it's AI. You know, like they're going to deny it forever. They don't want it to be Tyler Robinson. And like, look, man, fuck Israel. But they committed genocide in front of the world. They just blew up families in apartments for 3 years. You don't need to invent extra shit to condemn Israel. Like you really don't. And it's making actual conspiracies about Israel seem like you can just roll your eyes at it because all that Candace says that sounds like that. And so you're destroying credibility on things like stealing uranium from Apollo, or their role in September 11th and lying about anthrax, their role in lying about WMDs in Iraq, and the fact that they helped finance ISIS in Syria. Like these are all true, and you can prove it. I mean, that's what that big red poster is. That's my 9/11 map. Far more complex than Epstein.
Even the mainstream media reported they tried to blackmail Bill Clinton with recordings of him and Lewinsky when he was president. Yeah. Like, I mean, this is all verifiable stuff. And the Herzog affair. Like,
you think she saved a cum stain dress as a souvenir?
Right, exactly. So, who does that, right? And I did a video on the
some Jewish women,
the Herzog affair. I guess that was last year, maybe. I won't go into it right now, but his son became president of Israel mysteriously. Basically, I think he was the UN, if I recall correctly, the UN ambassador for Israel or something. And he was, or something like that, attaché.
Herzog's the president.
No, Herzog's the president now, but his dad was in the U.S. And spying for Israel is what he was doing. But okay, now I have that on the channel. Search Herzog and you can find it. J Danks Respecter says people accuse Ryan. No, this is totally off topic, but
go for it.
Some of them will be. Well, two of them from him are actually, but he's a great guy. So he says, I've actually been following Ryan for a long time. He doesn't have to answer this if he doesn't want to, but why did Varge leave?
Well, we finished the movie, so that's what he was hired to do.
Oh, yeah.
So we completed the task, and that was that. I mean, I talked to him yesterday. Like, he's not gone. He's just not my employee now because I don't have anything for him to do. I don't have like a big salary. I can't have a bunch of employees. So like, it is what it is.
I understand that pain. Somebody was, I won't say who, but there was a clip I was supposed to get up last week, and my cat's been sick. I've barely been able to get shows on the air some of these days because I'm taking her back and forth to the vet and monitoring her.
We're not getting checks from Qatar.
Yeah, or whatever. Look, if I was getting that 7K check, I would have 2 or 3 clippers to clip out shit all the time, and I do all that shit myself. Or Colonel J clips my shit on YouTube, right? And I thank him for that because. Like, I'm doing all this with, some people give me tips or contacts here and there, but like I'm doing this on my own. And he seemed a little peeved about it. I like the guy. I won't name him, but it's like, bro, I'm sorry. Yeah, it has taken a while, but I got a lot of shit going on. I'm doing it all on my own.
Yeah, people are like, I want a real salary to do XYZ. I'm like, well, I don't have that much revenue. So that's the answer. You're not getting a job.
Jay Danks, again, Respecter asked this. People accuse Ryan of being a Tate shill. How does Ryan think of this label, and what are his brief thoughts on the ongoing Tate lawsuits?
Yeah, that crap started from Myron Gaines, and I to this day don't know why he had to jump out about that. But that's the guy that did Fresh and Fit. And I went all the way down to Florida to do his show, which I didn't want to do, but he had just started advertising it. So I kind of had to, or it would look like I ran away from a debate or something.
Yeah.
I just had like a 22-hour flight, and I went down there, and I ended up having to debate two people. So like while one was talking, the other could look up shit on the computer. I didn't have a phone. It wasn't on the topic that I was told it was going to be, blah, blah, blah. He had brought up that topic, but then switched it a bunch of times. So I thought, oh, we're just having a 9/11 conference or something. I was like, fine, that's easy. I don't even have to study for that. Ended up debating Ukraine, and fine, whatever. That was fine. But then when he was like, I didn't like your performance, so I'm like, I'm tired. I didn't know I was going to have a 2-hour debate with two people on Ukraine. That's not what I agreed to do. I just had a 22-hour flight and a 3-hour drive. Like, get bent. And then I was talking to him and saying, like, you acted like you paid for me to come when you didn't. Now, he doesn't have to. It's his money. He doesn't have to pay me. But he said on his show, like, yeah, we'll pay you to come in, acting like he had. Well, that makes me look bad because I had to raise funds to go to Florida.
Wait, you paid your own ticket to Florida?
Yeah, I paid my own. I
With
paid
the
for
Fresh
everything
and Fit
myself.
money
Nobody paid me.
Are you serious?
Nobody paid me. Yeah. And so I said, like, because I was helping the Tates with their case. No, they didn't ask me to. I just did that. Like, I was like, this bitch is full of crap. But they actually do pay when someone comes to see them or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? They're like multi.
Well, if you make that type of money, you should, like, you know.
I got him Scott Ritter. I got him a bunch of guests, and he paid them, but not me. And later, like years later, he put in like $2,000 to my movie that he, like, it cost me more than that to come from Japan to Florida, but whatever. But in there, I was like, the Tates pay, like, they pay off. That didn't put me on their fucking payroll or anything like that. That's if I had something like that, then I could hire people, like how I'm saying. But I looked at the Tate case. It was weird because first I got recruited by the opposite side to be like, these guys are a bunch of human trafficking rapists, nignogs, whatever. So I looked at it and I'm like, what's the evidence for this? I see a bunch of degenerate shit, but it's not illegal. Like having a webcam studio, not illegal. I'm like, where's the illegal stuff? Where's the rape and human trafficking? And it just isn't there. The woman that started the whole thing, who we have to call Jane Doe, but everybody knows who it is being sued by like 6 different people for defamation and she does this all the time. And it was her idea to go to Romania, and she left her damn self with her phone and her money because she was not kidnapped. She was not trafficked. She was not forced to do anything. She went over there for like 3 days and left. And like this, you can see the reason they went after these two guys was clearly because they'd blown up and their political positions didn't fit with the system, which they call the matrix. But, you know, on all these issues, even Palestine, he argued with Piers Morgan about Palestine. A lot of it was like, I could tell he listened to my show because it was my own words. Oh, you're starting a story in the middle, and like those are Ryan Dawson isms, right? So I like them. Not all. I mean, I'm not into polygamy. I'm not a Muslim. I don't agree on everything, but who gives a shit? Like, by and large, I think what they're doing with this boxing thing coming up is healthy. I think them standing up for young men is healthy. And you can see when I replied to him, I trashed Andrew the last couple of days because he said some stupid shit. When he says good stuff, I give it praise. When he says bad stuff, I will knock it, just like anyone else. But they're just like, oh, why do you defend Tate? I'm like, well, because I think it's true. Like, I don't think it's right. It's a slippery. I did the same thing for Matt Gaetz. I did the same thing for Brett Kavanaugh. I did the same thing for Julian Assange. I did the same thing for anybody I felt was falsely accused of rape, because you'll be next. Like, any bitch could say that about you, me, or anyone we know, and just fuck up your life.
Believe me, I know.
So,
sir.
like, if you don't defend people, it doesn't matter whether you like them or not. Like, if accusing someone of rape or human trafficking, sex trafficking, whatever, is a huge accusation. That's why people on that Epstein list, I made sure I had receipts before I called somebody a rapist. I'll look in. I have no problem going after actual human traffickers, actual rapists. It's kind of what I do. That's why I was recruited by the anti-Tate team. But I asked him over and over again. I know he was on a web. They rip guys off like simps that thought they were talking to the girl and they weren't. I'm thinking that's so stupid. That's like complaining you lost money at the casino. Like if you're on OnlyFans and you think you're actually talking to the bitch, you're mentally ill. Like if you don't have time to talk to thousands of people, you think you're special. You're not. You're just like every other fucking lonely guy. Whatever. I don't care that ripping off lonely dudes not illegal. There's a huge jump from that to accuse somebody of rape and human trafficking. And I don't think these bitches should get away with it, man. They can just say that about anybody. And that crap, it all started with a case in the United Kingdom where they're on some reality show called Big Brother, and which Varg worked on, by the way. Isn't that funny? And
I didn't know that actually.
Some sex tape came out with Andrew and his girlfriend. And he's like hitting her with a belt, or there's like sounds of belt slaps and stuff. But they're like, oh, they kicked him off the show. But the girl herself came out on camera and said, I'm the girl in the tape. This was consensual. I'm into that shit. That was it. But if she had not done that, he'd have been in jail right then. They'd have been over right then. But once a girl does that and you have some money and a little bit of fame, everyone else is just going to copy that and be like, oh, yeah, I was choked and hit with a belt, because that's the story. And so a bunch, like 4 women came out with that, and it was so lacking in evidence that the UK tossed the case out. Then years later, they go to Romania, and Tristan brings some dumb slut from Florida to Romania. It wasn't even staying with them. So they live in like an American village down there, and she was staying in the house with 2 other girls. Those 2 other girls are free. Like their case is done. So, but they're still suing this bitch. So if you really look into it, and listen, I have no reason to defend people if I thought they were guilty. If I really thought they raped somebody, I would like fucking castrate them. Like that's what should happen to rapists. But there's just nothing there.
Yeah, no, I'll just say this because I see a guy in the chat going on. Of course, if they raped women, they should be punished for that. I don't give a fuck if they pimped hoes, to be honest with you. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and grew up listening to 3 6 Mafia, and pimping ain't easy, like they say. And I don't give a fuck about pimping hoes on OnlyFans or pimping hoes all over the world.
Themselves
That's
anyway.
what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a fuck about pimping. And I'm not saying they even did that. I haven't studied it, but I don't care.
OnlyFans is not prostitution. It's just visual. So there's no contact between the people. So it's legal.
Yeah, and again,
it's pornography.
Maybe that's a controversial take.
But that's the big jump between pornography and prostitution, you know.
Since when has pimping been a bad thing? Anyway, now let me continue. Theo Viejo says, "Who shot JFK, bro?"
I'm not answering that. Pay me.
He was saying
the mob. Put it that way.
He was saying that yesterday. He said you'd never say. I didn't know he would super chat it in, but he's like, you never.
Because I did the whole thing on RFK and everyone just copied my shit and I got no credit for it. I'm like, I'm not telling you. That took me decades of work to figure out. You know, if I ever have the funds to make a JFK movie, I'll make it. But I'm not just gonna blurt out, because that's the thing. They only care what happened in Daley Plaza and who pulled the trigger. They don't give a shit about why it happened and the results of it or anything. Same thing with RFK, like Thane Caesar shot him. So what? Do you know who that is? Nobody, like, okay, some 2-bit criminal got in trouble in Tijuana, you know, worked for Don Alessio, whatever. He's the guy that actually pulls the trigger and kills him. It's not some fantastic name. And if I told you killed JFK, you'd be like, who's that? I'm like, exactly. It's not that important.
Now, and that does make sense, your answer too. Like
they hire expendables for a reason.
Randall
this person, by the way, had shot someone else before he shot Kennedy. There's a clue.
Right. Randall Flagg says, it's come out besides Candace's questionable past that Erica Kirk's father was CEO of Raytheon Israel, and her meeting Charlie seems to be an arranged political marriage. Lots of bad actors out there. Had you heard that?
Well, that is true about her father. It's speculation whether it was arranged marriage or not, but I made the joke like Charlie Kirk finally got out of a bad marriage.
Wow.
They're on some radio show. There's a video of this, and she couldn't remember like one of their kids' birthdays. And she's like, well, there's so many, or their anniversary and something. And she's like, well, there's so many anniversary, birthdays, whatever. And Charlie just like spits out all the dates. I don't know if these are the dates. We like January 8th, August 12th. Like he just goes through all of them, no problem. But she didn't know. She's like older than him, which is unusual, quite a bit older. So who knows? I think they first saw each other in Israel. I don't know if they met, but like that's when they first saw each other.
I think that's actually true. I haven't studied it deeply, but I think
it's very Golan Sapel when Charles Kushner introduced McGreevey, the governor of New Jersey, to this Israeli faggot in Golan Sapel, who got a 6-figure salary and security in New Jersey, was sleeping with the governor while his wife was in the hospital with cancer.
Yeah, I remember watching his resignation press conference. That was really something.
Oh, they were like, he got away with everything he did by just coming out as a gay man. And they're like, oh, you're so brave. Oh, you're gay. You're so brave. So beautiful.
Yeah, and I see Theo. And,
he's sleeping with a foreign national who he gave a 6-figure salary. That's the problem.
I see Theo wasn't happy with her answer. I didn't think he would be, but I do appreciate the support. He's a long-time viewer. I'm assuming he's a long-time viewer of yours too. But okay, so we got that one in. Jay Danks Respecter. Okay. Why does Ryan think Ian Carroll rocks the 80s gay porno stash? Is it a signal to the other gay homies or other gay homies? He looks straight out of those cringe.
I've never commented on his mustache.
He looks straight out of those cringe gay pornos with the bad acting. I don't know if you want to touch that one.
I've never seen a gay porno, so I didn't know that is a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some questionable Reddit posts.
I heard the phrase "gayer than cum on a mustache," but never actually watched a porno.
I've seen some questionable Reddit posts. I don't know if those have been authenticated, though. To be fair, he did say those.
He's gay. I don't think he's a porn star. I think he's just regurgitating Candace points because of shekels.
Well, you know how this business works, and if you're allies, friends with somebody, collaborators with somebody, a lot of times. You just don't criticize that person even when you disagree, or if you do disagree and take an opposite position, you never criticize them directly, right? And I've noticed, and
no, I just criticize whatever's wrong.
No, you do all the time, and I've seen you kind of have a prickly reputation.
You know that's true. Like I don't give a fuck who you are. Like if you're wrong, you're wrong. That's it.
Yeah, and I've seen you underneath. I see you all the time. And if you're right, you're right too. I've seen you.
Yeah, exactly. If Candace tomorrow said something that made sense, I would say so, but she's not going to.
Well, the one thing I do and did give her credit for was that apparently authenticated text messages where he was complaining about Israeli donors. And I said, all right, you know what? That's actual evidence. That's the one thing I think she's put out that is actual evidence. But what we don't have, first off, this is a guy who's trying to please all.
The one thing that didn't require any research was like an inside text message that she could read. So of course she knew about it.
Yeah, but that was legit. And it is eyebrow raising. But what we don't have is what he said before, and we don't have what he said after. Right. So he's trying
We know that he did not reject their money. They were rejecting giving it to him. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
They did not like that he had Tucker on stage, but up to that point, Tucker had always been kind of ambiguous. So like, oh, look, Israel. Like he wouldn't condemn them until he got on TPUSA, and then he went nuts on Israel. Even when he interviewed Ted Cruz, he's like, oh, no, he backpedaled. He didn't have the balls to say it at that point. So when Charlie had him on, Tucker had no prior record of criticizing Israel. He just did it on the stage. And then the Josh Hammer debate with Dave Smith, like they thought Hammer would destroy Dave Smith.
Why would they think that?
Dave Smith's kind of mid, but he didn't.
Yeah, but Josh Hammer
won that argument because it's indefensible. The Israeli position is undefendable. You just can't do it.
And Josh Hammer is really just he does. Candace has a cast of villains here. She's got a lot to work with too. Like this guy does look straight out of Central Casting as some type of
He is
creepy
Yeah.
slimeball villain, actually. And some of these other people too. Let's get back in order. Oh wait, hold on. Let me make sure I don't miss any, and then I want to cover a couple
It
other
was like
things.
when Smith argued that you've never been there, faggot. He didn't bring up Cast Lead. He didn't bring up Pillar of Defense. He didn't bring up Protective Edge. He didn't bring up the March for Peace. He didn't bring up any of the prior, mowing of the lawn. The only thing he brought up was the blockade, like blocking potato chips or something. It's like, why are you arguing this? You don't know this fucking issue. You should not be in that chair. And he could have deferred to people I know he knows well, like Scott Horton could have done a great job arguing that, but it's not him, it's Dave. Like a lot of people he knows could have destroyed. Who was the Never Been There guy? I don't remember his name. Fucking queer for sure. He's so animated and they leave his mouth open at what was his name? Whatever. That it shouldn't have been Dave Smith. But he's like, didn't I do a great job destroying him? I'm like, no, you did a horrible job. There's just nothing to compare it to because no one else gets that opportunity. And it's just like two Jews doing a kosher sandwich.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what do you think?
Neither one of them knows the topic at all.
I don't have personal beef with Dave Smith. He's actually been on the show. He debated Nick Fuentes on this show, as a matter of fact, many years ago.
I know.
I
And both
believe
of them were just like missing the target completely. It's the fucking media that matters.
Well, no, it was about China, actually, if I recall correctly. It was, I need
Rothbard and stuff, and Dave can't articulate that either. He's like, read Murray Rothbard. Like, how about instead of me reading it, since you've already read it, why don't you say what he said? But you can't articulate it. He's like one of these Lolbert libertarians that's actually an anarchist, but can't back that up. He's like, we want property rights. I'm like, oh, really? How are you going to delineate property without a state? Fucking dumb.
Randall Flagg says, off topic, Ryan, how are your health issues? You said you had a bad bout of gout, which rhymes actually, which you described as.
I had gout twice. That's not a big deal compared to
the eye thing, wasn't it?
In my eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't hear about the gout, but I heard about the eye thing, and that did have me kind of worried.
Yeah, it's wet macular degeneration. So what happens is all the like straight lines like curve up like a rainbow. Makes it very hard to read. Can't see at night. Can't like adjust. It sucks.
Yeah.
But if every 3 months or so I get a big needle and the shot in my eye, it'll reverse temporarily. And then 3 months later, I need another one. And I just have to do that the rest of my life. Sucks, but there is a way to mitigate the symptoms. There is some like stem cell research. A lot of, online is a lot of it's bullshit. But there was a study that has been done on animals that it will not be out till 2028, but it looks promising. So maybe.
Well, and I do know some people come to Mexico actually for stem cell therapy, and Colombia, another Latin American country I've been to.
Panama,
Panama too. They do a lot of stem cell stuff there. Okay, next.
We have it here. I mean, Korea's fine with that.
Yeah.
It won't, like, stem cells replicate adjacent cells, and the problem here is I have like a vein behind my eye, like growing into the back of my eye. So it's not like I need more cells; I need less. But you can't just get rid of the vein. So what this medicine does is it shrinks the circumference of it, so it's not pushing or bleeding into the eye. But you can't shut it off, so it's going to grow back, and then you got to shrink it again. And that's why it's in a cycle. It's not sure stem cells could do anything, and they can't go. It's behind the eye, so they're not going to pull your eyeball out of your head and get in there. That's not happening. So,
well, yeah, because that you would go blind.
This isn't Star Wars, not that advanced.
The optical nerve and all that stuff. Yeah, that's not. Jay Danks Spector says, has Ryan seen Jean-Francois Garapé's bullet breakdown of the Charlie shooting? It's pretty in depth. I didn't see it, but I read the caption, saw a little bit of it.
Well, JF is French. How can you trust him? He probably got a maroon shirt and a baguette or something.
Well, we had a falling out a long time ago over his Mama JF and stuff like that. But I read what he laid out, and it's pretty much exactly what you said earlier. and
Well,
it's
if
not
he came to the
magic bullet.
same type of
there.
conclusion that, like, whatever people think of, I don't care that he's French or Canadian, but it was a joke. But
Of course.
this is a biologist from UNC. He knows what he's fucking talking about. So if he looked at it, I would trust it.
Well, the thing I picked on Ian Carroll about was he called him a neurosurgeon. And he has biology, but also he has a degree, I think biology, but he has a degree in neuroscience. And which is not, I mean, it's related, obviously, but there's a difference between that and a neurosurgeon cutting somebody's brain.
Well, it's just if you can get a degree in any of those, you're
probably
intelligent in general
yeah.
compared to these other people that like,
yeah, you're probably pretty fucking smart. Now, and which he is. And so let's see. Silver Lake 99 says Candace's theories are a nonsense. That's another thing. She said that 2 or 3 times on Piers. She says that's a nonsense, which is not correct syntax. I don't know if this is a black thing or I've been around black people a lot. Like I said,
I haven't heard that one.
I've never heard that one. That's a Candaceism as far as I know. And she was not.
Is she trying to say nonsensical or?
It's a nonsense. Yeah, like basically this makes no sense. You would just say that's nonsense.
Non sequitur, or is that,
no, you would just say that's nonsense, not that's a nonsense, because that's not the correct usage. It's not the correct.
You're not even wrong.
Verb noun usage, right? Like, that's a nonsense. No, it's just nonsense, right? Anyway, that did bother me, and I talked about the. Frying my brain. I've been watching too much.
Funny is I remember Pierce had Alex Jones on and about 9/11. He's like, who did it? He's like, we know exactly. And he's like, how many angels could dance on the head of a pin? But he just would not answer the fucking question. And Pierce asked him 13 times, who, Alex, who did it? Who did it? He would not give him an answer. And he asked him, okay, let's say there are a bunch of Egyptian planes with overlap. Like, what's that mean? I don't know. You're just throwing stuff on the wall because it's all conspiratainment to these people. They don't want to answer. And when she had to walk back stuff, because basically they're going to sue her, they're all like, Candace got the call. These people are so gaslit that they don't know what to believe on anything. And AI is making it worse because even video is so fakeable now. And because these people don't have any understanding, the only way they can know anything is through trust. You don't have to trust something if you actually understand it. You know how it makes sense. So it doesn't matter who said it. You can figure it out. They don't have that capacity. So they're just unable to trust anything. So they've become hyper skeptical. And so you've got this large swath of people who just give up and don't believe anything. They don't believe science. They don't believe politicians. They don't believe anything. And I blame a lot of that on the state. I mean, they lied to everybody about COVID. They lied about all these wars. They're constantly like, even if something's true and the FBI says it, no one's going to believe them because they've lied about everything else. Like in my lifetime, from the Iran-Contra affair to Syria, it's just nothing but a litany of lies and bullshit. But, there's lots of school shootings. And it's weird because in all the other incidences, they accepted the shooters were the shooters, except this one.
Yeah, it's strange. And again, that's why I have to say, I don't criticize people even with this asking legitimate questions. Like I mentioned in the text message.
Right.
And stuff.
You should ask questions if they're actually questions.
If it's legitimate. But
don't
when you're
make assertions and say, I'm just asking questions, bro. That's bullshit.
Yeah, and I do think it's actually a lot of the blame is the U.S. government and other governments who just flat out lied to their people forever and ever, and they've been caught doing it, and they never even admitted it and came clean. And then when they say something that's true, there's no belief, there's no trust in the institutions.
If the government said the sky is blue, I'd run out and check, make sure it didn't change.
Yeah, and
they do lie all the time.
Yeah,
but like this isn't based on because Kash Patel said so. Tyler's own parents called him when they saw, the mom saw his photograph. His dad called and said, "Hey, where's that gun?" that your granddad gave you. They helped turn in their own son. He confessed. And he's somebody that looks like him with his shoes and his fingerprints and everything is on the roof of the rifle in a black towel, which is corroborated by the messages he sent. It's a pretty open and shut case. Whether he had any cohorts and all, you can explore all that. But what they're doing with the planes and the trap door, maybe someone shot him from behind with a NATO hand weapon, or maybe this, maybe that. Maybe when people were looking up, he was hit from below. Like, this is all crap.
Well, he was
These are
obviously
all
shot from
fantasism.
above. I mean, you can, and the exploding mic
Like, he was piling
theory.
him. Like, he could have stood up and shot him. You know that he was, like, from the markings that he had been laying there,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean he stayed laying there. You don't know that.
Well, and they also have the Rode microphone theory. Either it blew up, and then the new one is
Oh, yeah.
he may have been electrocuted. And I'm like, what in the fuck?
Oh, the armor too. Remember that?
Yeah,
Like, it bounced off-
yeah.
He wasn't wearing armor.
No, he wasn't.
He did. His microphone didn't explode. His microphone's still there after he shot.
It's just
But
total
it's just
bullshit.
like they're like, oh, it's like the physics 9/11 people that obsessed with, well, that building looked like it fell from bombs on every floor just based on eyeballing it.
And I do think his security team should quit their jobs, honestly, and go into another line of work. And so,
How the fuck do you not check the rooftops?
Yeah.
It's the same when Trump got shot, like as another faggot on the roof. How would you allow a rooftop to oversee the stage where the president's going to be speaking? No Secret Service is that incompetent. Even with females, they're not that incompetent.
well, I think there's a lot more questions about that.
That one is way more sus than the Kirk shooting.
Yeah. And anyway, we can go into that.
He had a Gab account, but no other social media. My ass. No one goes straight to Gab. And there's all these comments he made on YouTube and stuff. Like, that's one thing Tucker did dig up.
Cloud of Trigger says, after the Australian massacre, it seems like World Jewelry is working for something big, for a shutdown or crackdown in the works. Do you think something is coming? And they clearly are. Netanyahu basically threatened the West 2 days ago. I don't know. They do something or else, or something like that. And I was like, is this guy?
They tried to blame Iran. Like, 2 Indians shoot Jews in Australia, and somehow that's Iran's fault. These guys had visited the Philippines, done an ISIS cell in the Philippines, and they were at a Salafist madras there in Australia. This is just cannon fodder. And Colonel Wilkerson mentioned this the other day. A lot of these terrorist incidents, like whatever it is, ISIS, Boko Haram, whatever, they're just expendables that get groomed. Like, this guy was a fruit vendor and a bricklayer that lost his job. They got nothing going for them, and they catch these guys, they radicalize them, and they get them to do something stupid on their behalf, because when something like that happens, you get a rise in security state. You can, blame it on your enemies. Well, look, you guys recognize Palestine. You just weren't tough enough on anti-Semitism. You need more anti-Semitism laws, which are not anti-Semitism laws. They're there to protect Israel, not Jews. But they're going to conflate the two things, and they run that play all the time.
Yeah, and they do conflate those two things all the time. That's why I try to make a very clear delineation there. Not everyone does, but now let's see. There's another one. Silver Lake 99 says, Ryan. Yeah, okay. This is a question I was going to ask actually. Ryan, what do you think of Nick Fuentes' generational run? Actually, organic or AstroTurf? I probably wasn't going to ask that part of it, but what do you think of a huge rise in Fuentes?
Well, he was banned on just about everything for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, well, I was banned for a couple of decades, but whatever. Yeah, it was odd. Like, he went from this pariah to suddenly he's on the Hodge twins and Patrick Ben-David and then Tucker Carlson and then Pierce Morgan, and like they've normalized him. And I think it's because, like, controversy sells. Where it used to be, if you're, someone that praises Stalin and wants an ethno state or whatever he said, then you just don't get to talk. But now they're like, controversy sells, so just let it go. I think he's still a net positive, and as far like if he can get away from some of his earlier young stupid views and focus on the evil of Israel, because he used to laugh like I don't care about Palestinians. Like if he can hide that, if he can be a better Machiavellian and pretend like he's not a psychopath, then he'll do well. And the thing is, like, I'm not even attacking that faction because Brown Pig is the worst thing right now. And so, like, anybody that's against her, I just leave them alone. Like, I don't think it's good to praise Stalin. I don't want a Catholic monarchy. Like, I completely disagree with him on a bunch of things. But at least he's not retarded. You know, the Brown Pig stuff, we're really drifting into an unfixable situation where just nobody can trust anything or believe anything. And it's the government's fault. I mean, they lie so much that no one can trust them anymore.
All right, now we have a couple. I think one just came in here. Then what was I going to ask you about? Well, it'll come to me.
I don't know who that is. Someone wrote, "Who is Paul Town?"
I do know who Paul Town is.
Never heard of him. Not running from anybody. I honestly don't even know who the fuck that is.
Well, I didn't know Paul Town wanted to debate you, but I would definitely.
He might not. This might be chat trying to instigate shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. Who, debate what exactly? Like, and who is that?
Paul Town. How would I describe Paul Town? I've known Paul Town we talked here and there and over the years, but I guess you would call him a bit of a troll, but also highly intellectual in my opinion as well. Esoteric in some ways with some of his commentary. He's been around forever, since at least 2015, 2016, probably before. And he tricked Olivia Nuzzi, who's a dumb bitch, obviously. But him and some other people tricked her into this whole frog Twitter. Like there was these group DMs where they were all planning all these ops and stuff, pro-Trump ops. And she wrote this up, I believe it was New York Magazine, I think. But I'd have to double check. And she wrote
I don't
this.
know her either.
Well, she was the one who had an affair with Robert Kennedy Jr. Actually, if you Google that.
Get in line.
Yeah, exactly. I know he's got about 500 of those. Yeah,
the one. What do you mean?
He had a diary where he wrote every single time he cheated on his wife. Don't do that, by the way.
There's a funny thing with Ian and Candace. We're like, we're gonna drop the other shoe on RFK because I said I was gonna do that. And then I saw them saying that, so I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then it just disappeared because if they don't have my work to steal, they don't know what to say.
Well, and again, it's not exactly RFK, fucking thing that walks. I've had that problem.
RFK Jr.
Yeah, RFK Jr. Yeah, let's be clear, not RFK. I remember reading this story.
He blamed the women too for tempting him instead of himself.
They found this diary where he literally, and he's chastising himself, but blaming the women for being temptresses, and he really loved his wife. He basically...
Thomas Sowell is right on that. Like, we're at a point where nobody's accountable for their own actions, yet we are somehow accountable for other people's actions. Like, it's your fault, Ralph, that there was transatlantic slavery and, like, anything bad that people who look like you did in history. Like, that's so dumb. But things that you actually do, then you're not responsible for. It's the weirdest thing.
And if you look at his first marriage, it's a pretty weird thing too. And his wife and how she kind of, arguably driven into the grave by him. But regardless, it's a whole separate topic. But there's
the Easter party with Maxwell, and then he went on a fossil finding mission. Sure.
Yeah. Oh my God, that Fox News clip where he's just totally deer in headlights talking about Epstein. I remember that during the campaign. But
Epstein got a lot of them, man. Every little lecherous pervert fell for his traps.
Well, yeah, a lot of hoes, and he had legal age hoes too, and illegal, but under 18, above 18, right at 18. He had whatever you wanted, whatever you needed, and that's how he got so many people sucked up into it.
He'd bring you a 17-year-old in the UK because the age consent's a year lower. He was 16 for a while. They changed it.
Yeah, here it's 18, but anywhere if you're a U.S. citizen. Of course, that law didn't exist, I don't think, until 2018 or something. I don't know, somewhere around there. But it used to be illegal to go to different countries and have sex according to their age of consent laws. But if you're a U.S. citizen and you go to another country and have sex with someone below 18, and they find out about it, of course, they'd have to find out about it. They will charge your ass with a serious fucking felony, and I think it's got a 20 or 30 year sentence on it now. So that's actually
it's a law that shouldn't be necessary, but
right?
it is. You think who the fuck would do that? But
you know what's weird about that law is you can travel, you could move to another state. So it's kind of weird. So you can't travel to another state with the express purpose to have, I believe, to have sex with someone under 18, according to that state's law. Because some states have age of consent at 16, 17 in the U.S. But if you
the reason that happened was
move to that state
because of prostitution laws when the railroads were being made. They were trying to get the caravans of whores that followed the railroads out. But there'd be a place like in the Nevada territories, which is now Nevada, Vegas, all that, where they could go there and do their thing and then come back. But there's but you can't bring the girl with you. You can't have her cross state lines.
Yes.
Because they're trying to isolate the prostitution at least to one spot and not have it following around the rails, but in particular because it was lowering production, causing conflict and fights and da-da-da-da. So you have to go to her. You can't bring her to you. So you cannot transport someone across state lines for the purpose of sex. Sounds weird. It's what if you what if you're a couple? I mean, but that's the reason that law happened.
Well, that's what Diddy got popped for. And I'm going to ask you something that I didn't plan on bringing up. But 50 Cent, I watched the Diddy documentary and it's absolutely devastating.
Dude, 50 Cent made me realize I have to up my hate game.
Dude, that's he's like the all-time greatest hater. I watched that and there's not one single positive story or thought about Diddy in the entire thing. It leaves you with the distinct impression.
He played it on ABC at 7 a.m. so Diddy could see it.
So they could see it, yes. Yeah, there's nothing. The one thing is his mother beat him allegedly when he was a child. And that may explain some things. That's not really a positive thing, by the way, but that's the only thing that kind of gives him a little bit of a reason for why he is how he is. But there's nothing positive. He basically pretty much proves that he killed Tupac, and he gives you the distinct impression that he had Biggie killed too, so that he would own all his masters forever, and that he'd be worth more dead than alive to Diddy. And it shows Diddy coming out on the VMAs with what's the song? Damn, the Sting sample. Fuck. Missing you.
Interscope and the Bloods.
But it's Missing You, and Diddy always wanted to be an artist. He'd had a couple of those hits by that before that with Mace, etc. What was it? Don't be fuck. I can't remember now.
I had a co-host who knew that whole scene. It would tell me about the Gay Black Satan Club. That's the nickname. Years ago, 6-7 years ago, going in all these guys are gay. Diddy, Drake, Meek Mills, they're all gay.
Meek Mill's definitely gay.
Tupac too.
I don't like. I'm a Pac fan. I can't accept that one. I know that one is out there too, but I can't accept that one. I do know that is said though. It's can't nobody hold me down. But anyway, it's right after Biggie died. And Missing You was a huge song if you're around that time. It was #1 for 10, 15 weeks or whatever. And it was everywhere. I still listen to it now, to be honest with you, even after seeing that documentary. But it shows Puffy And he's coming out on stage, and it's just right after Biggie got killed a few months later, and he's doing all these dances and twists, and he's wearing all white and all this, and he's clearly having the time of his life. This documentary is just devastating. But what I was going to ask you, and it ties into Ian Curl, because when I first heard about Ian Curl, I don't really fuck with TikTok. I should, I guess, but he came from TikTok. It came from TikTok. And so I really never heard of him. And I think he just started up there maybe 2023, 2022.
Do like consumer product videos.
Yeah. And so anyway, I didn't start seeing him until he started posting the shit on Twitter, because that's where I hang out. And he had this theory, and I actually thought it was kind of interesting at the time. I don't believe it now. I didn't necessarily believe it then, but I was like, okay, I'll watch this. Let's see. We played on the show.
Davidson.
Yeah, he had a theory that Diddy was like an Epstein type, working for Mossad, and all this. And I don't
it's there is a casting couch in the music industry, just like Hollywood. Diddy is more like a Harvey Weinstein than an Epstein.
That's what
he is not. Epstein was the gangster these other people pretend to be, like these fake gangsters.
Yes.
Epstein had presidents, prime ministers, billionaires. Like, he is way bigger than Diddy.
Yeah, I at the time
and honestly, the Mossad is not going to fuck with the fucking
Diddy
midwit retard like that. Like,
Diddy was doing this for his own personal enjoyment. Is my understanding. And as 50 Cent pointed out on MS Now, is what they call MSNBC these days. He was on there, and just, you talk about all-time hater. It's just amazing, the whole interview. He's talking about, I watched it before I watched the doc, and he said, I just want to remind people that Diddy is the only person in U.S. history to have been convicted under the Mann Act. I don't know if he said Mann Act, but to be convicted for transporting male prostitutes across state lines. I just want to remind everyone of that fact. And that's how he ended the interview. Male escort child. And that's how he ended the interview.
It's the brown paper bag phenomenon. With an escort, it's a prostitute.
Yes.
But it's kind of like if you see somebody on the bench, Steven Pinker pointed this out, and they got a bottle, but they have a brown paper bag around it. The cops just let that be, even though they know probably he's drinking alcohol outside. They just let it go. There's a certain amount of, if you put the effort in to lie to us, we'll look the other way. And that's how escorts are. Like, everyone knows this isn't a 99% chance that it's a prostitute. But as an escort, it's legal because you're paying for dates, not sex.
Yeah, technically you're paying for their time.
So it's kind of like, like we know. It's a weird thing. It's like tobacco paraphernalia that's definitely for marijuana, bongs and everything. Like, oh, this is for tobacco. Like, that's not true. But we let it slide. So those kind of like gray rules that are against the law but not against the law, we call brown paper bags.
And I like that term. Now here's
another. You see that with like Israel's nuclear weapons. Everyone fucking knows they have them, but they pretend they don't. You'll see that with is Taiwan a state? Of course it is. It's got its own government, its own money, own everything. But we have to pretend.
Because the Chinese might get mad.
Whether it's China or whatever. It's this weird thing where, so it's not just like little petty stuff like, can you drink outside? It goes all the way to international level where we have a series of brown paper bags.
What do you think? This just came to me.
Something that Brown Pig might want to invest in is a brown paper bag.
Put it over her fucking head, smother or something. No, she shouldn't do that. I want her to live a long life, of course. But
I'm waiting for her to oink. Oink.
let me ask you. Somebody brought this up, and I've seen people talk about this before. Somebody had just happened to say it in chat yesterday that nuclear bombs are fake, and which I think is quite frankly retarded. But there are a lot of people who think that. Where does that come from exactly, and why would they think that?
They were like saying that nobody nuked Japan. They don't believe nukes are real. They think it should have made a nuclear winter. This is like my no donkey rule. There's some people that are too unintelligent to have a discussion with. So it's like, the story of the tiger and the donkey. You heard that? That's how I feel about that. It's like nuclear bombs are real. Nuclear power is real. Nuclear bombs have been used. Nuclear bombs have been tested. They're very real. Now, like cold fusion is not real yet, at least. But nuclear weapons are absolutely real.
You know, when I first got a HD TV, one of the first things I was really just entranced by seeing in high definition was I forget the name of the program and the channel, but it was just like 2 straight hours of nuclear bomb tests that they had archived, and I believe it's U.S. Out in New Mexico, wherever the fuck they did that, which was, just so happened there was a film shot there with in that area, John Wayne. I forget the name of the film, and almost every single person from the cast of that film died of cancer, including John Wayne. I'm sure that was just a coincidence. But it's
blame the French.
Yeah, but it really is entrancing, like to see the nuclear, the
Bikini Island, which is they named the Bikini comes out after that. By the way, they named it after that when they did that famous test.
Yeah, I guess they didn't drop the bombs like in New Mexico themselves, but they were working on the stuff there, and then they dropped the bombs elsewhere. But
all that radiation might be the origin of the ginger.
Yeah, it could be. They did. It basically was like a nuke channel. I don't know. That was one of their main programs, and I still remember that. I was like,
well, Russia can now nuke anything, anywhere.
Yeah, that's another reason I kind of think people should stop fucking with Russia. But anyway, one more from Dawson Hijacker, then I'll get to a couple more.
I think we're gonna leave NATO. I think he's gonna start a war with Venezuela too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you actually. I'm against that. I've seen some people.
Yeah, I don't want to invade anybody. Like,
I live in Mexico. I'm against that too. He's talking about dropping bombs here, and quite obviously,
they're not going after narco traffic or anything like that. It's just like Venezuela cut off oil to Israel in 2009, and they like from Hugo Chavez to Maduro, they've been kind of flirting with war with Venezuela, and now it's like they're doing similar to what they did to Japan with the Cullen memo. They're making a blockade. They're seizing oil tankers. They're blowing up fishing boats. They're making it to where like Venezuela is going to have to go on the offense. And as soon as they do, boom, so now Maduro's sending naval escorts with his ships. It's bad, but it's like, what is the point of invading Venezuela? It's this new Monroe Doctrine or something. It's really stupid. We don't gain anything. And Thomas Massey pointed this out the other day. Like, how did that work in Libya or Syria or Iraq or Afghanistan where the Taliban's still there? Like, or Vietnam or whatever. Like, what do you really think's going to come of invading Venezuela? They want regime change. And that's why he labeled Venezuela a terrorist state, so he can do airstrikes and naval strikes without any oversight. Not that Congress would block it anyway, but now he can just on a whim try to assassinate people and just say, well, they're terrorists. And Marco Rubio is part of this, but it's weird because Trump pardoned a whole bunch of cartel members. So it's kind of like, does the cartel have something on you?
I don't know about any cartels, by the way. I don't believe they exist. I think that's imperialist propaganda. To be clear, I don't believe in cartels.
There's a cartel.
No, I don't know anything about it. Now,
right.
I will say this. I saw pin click.
I hate North Korea.
I saw.
I have to say that.
I saw pin click in chat said Nagasaki was an all wood city, firebombed it. They firebombed it, quote unquote. That's what some people say. Well, you know what? Tokyo actually mostly was an all wood city, and they did firebomb Tokyo, and they killed about 100,000 people during that. But and they could have done that to Nagasaki most likely if they wanted to. But it was it was to prove to the world. Dick measuring contest.
They dropped a hydrogen bomb on Hiroshima, and they dropped a plutonium bomb on Nagasaki, and they wanted to see what it could do at a mountainous region. Nagasaki was not even supposed to be the target. It was weather and rumors of wing zeros that had them hit Nagasaki. That wasn't even supposed to. They weren't even supposed to hit that. It is pointless. Like, goddamn, you're just blowing up a whole city of civilians.
Yeah,
it never should happen. Japan, had tried to surrender, total surrender. And in fact, the surrender they ended up doing in August is exactly the same terms they had in April.
Well, it had
So they're
nothing
like,
to
"No,
do
we
with
do this."
Japan. You know, when I was younger, I used to defend the atomic bombing of Japan. Actually,
They're like, you can't
Uh,
mess with the emperor, and they didn't. Like that. Like, look, you can't. It doesn't matter if you nuke us 100 times. You're not doing that. The U.S. was not trying to get total surrender. The U.S. wanted to flex its nuts on the Soviet Union and show the
that's
new
exactly
weapon they
right.
have.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
'cause they went right into Korea right after that.
That's exactly right. And I bought into the official narrative, you know, we were gonna have to invade and it saved millions of lives. And for the longest, I stayed with that. Even up until 5-10 years ago. And then I read more into it. And it actually didn't have, you talked about Japan was making peace and
Looks like
treaties
a
already.
cop's chasing a bad guy down the
Yeah.
street, and he goes into an apartment building, so they just pull out bazookas and blow up the whole building. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you save police lives, but look at all the civilians you killed. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just say, "Well, we don't want to fight the army, so we're just going to blow up cities."
Yeah, it was about showing the Soviets we had a bigger dick and don't get too rowdy. They were about ready to come into Japan too at the time as well and take over part of it for themselves. Yeah, so
They actually attempted a raid on Hokkaido. It didn't go well at all, but that's the northernmost island. When they took the Kuril Islands, they're still annexing that from Japan.
yeah,
You know, they're mad because Japan defeated Russia in 1906 at the Port Arthur War and then occupied Korea themselves for 45 years. And Japan did horrible stuff to the Koreans and
They did.
Chinese and everything. They all did. So, but that wasn't like it started that day. I mean, the Mongols and Koreans and China had attacked Japan many times in the past with no success. So they were coming, but it's not any different than the French or the British or any other empire that went around using conquest to take land. Like, that is just how it was at that time period. And they didn't even see it. They're like, well, you guys did it. And it's really hard to point and wave the finger. We're like, how can the British say anything given it, or the French? Like, why does West Africa speak French? Because we know how that happens. So they were no more evil than the European powers that did the same shit. But dropping the atomic bombs was completely unnecessary. They were already done. It was over. You didn't have to invade Japan at all. They were going to surrender.
Yeah, I agree. But I used to vehemently disagree with that because about the narrative. Let's see. Dawson Hijacker says Santeria is real. 6'7" niggas be worshiping demons and shit. Is what he said there. I don't know the full context of that. I'm trying to think. We went about 90 minutes. There was something else. Let me go to my profile that I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think about Cena?
Okay. Somebody mentioned wrestling talk. So, first off, the booking for the year, the whole tour, kind of a fail, honestly, for the most part, with some exceptions. I like this. I like the CM Punk match in Saudi Arabia. I like this SummerSlam match, although the cinematic thing they did where they were coming up under, from under the stage, which a lot of people loved that. I thought that was nonsensical, really. He's holding him in the, on his back when he comes up, and I think he carries him all the way to the ring or whatever. I thought that was too much. That was a great match. The AJ Styles match was great. I did like the Dominic Mysterio little interaction there for a month or two.
Good heel.
Yeah, he's great. He's going to be world champion not too far in the future, in my opinion. But the heel turn, which I loved at first because I'd been waiting on it for fucking 15 years. And so I loved it. The Rock, something happened. I don't know what. Either The Rock left him high and dry or Triple H booked himself into that corner knowing that he wouldn't have The Rock after that. If that's the case, then Triple H, that's an all-time booking failure because it didn't make any sense afterwards. And so they had to spin another story, and he's still mad, even though people had stopped hating on Cena. It used to be like half the people loved him, half the people hated him, and let's go Cena, we hate Cena, right? Like back and forth. So if that would have happened 10 years ago, it would have made
He's
sense.
kind of the last one left of that ruthless aggression era.
Yeah. But you know, I didn't have a problem. I watched a video from Vince Russo. I don't usually take what he says that seriously, but he laid out a
I
pretty.
can't stand him.
I can't stand him,
I
but
hate that guy. I don't hate him as much as Jim Cornette does.
no. And
No
I listen to
one
Cornette
does.
all the time, and I haven't heard Cornette's take yet, actually, on that. I did see him fighting with Jack Posobiec, but I'm waiting for them to post it on YouTube so I can see his take.
Blocked me for some reason.
Who?
Jim Cornette.
Really? Oh man, he doesn't have me blocked. But he is, lefty or whatever. Quote unquote, he's on tape dropping the N bomb, and has admitted to doing that a few times. He's kind of like a Southern Democrat. He really hates Trump. Basically, is what it is.
I don't like Trump. I made Trump sign his ball and chain the film. Like,
yeah, I don't care. Like, I just like.
he's better than Harris, but that's a low bar.
I just like hearing Jim Cornette talk about wrestling, and specifically.
I like it when he loses
yeah.
his shit though, like crashes out or whatever the kids say. And his rant on Vince Russo is top 10. Jim Cornette loses his shit. Like
it's
top 10.
It's hilarious. I'll say as far as the I always say Gunther, but Gunther, however you want to say it. I knew that Cena was going to lose. I mean, that was obvious. It was pretty much been made clear. So the people in the building who were shocked, I don't really know why they were. I would assume
They didn't want him to lose by submission, though. He'd never lost by submission.
Yeah. At least since he'd been facing, it's 25 years or whatever, I think, since he tapped out. Now, I actually, first off, Russo made the case, and I actually agree with him. Vince McMahon would have never let that happen. That would have never happened on Vince's
Vince McMahon broke the Undertaker streak.
Yeah, that's true, but it's Cena's last match. But I actually defended it. And kind of liked it.
You gotta pass the torch.
Yeah, I didn't mind him losing. I actually thought, and he explained it in the Cody Rhodes interview, which I haven't seen the whole thing, but it was, he was comparing it to
the audience. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, fuck you. We like wrestling.
No. But he compared
that Ripley Io Sky 3-way match at WrestleMania was fire.
I love Io Sky. Cornette does not, though, actually, but he's wrong. But he's
wrong.
Yes, he's wrong. He's totally wrong about that.
I like Kairi Sane.
Yes, I really like Stephanie Vaquera, though. That's who I really like. Oh, my God. Anyway, Chile's best export, Stephanie Vaquera, who got famous here in Mexico first. Even though she's from Chile, she wrestled for CMLL. Here in Mexico, and I still want to go to Arena Mexico in Mexico City, the only arena built specifically for wrestling in the world. And if you look it up, every sight line, every seat, like there's not a bad seat in the house. I mean, even the nosebleeds, right? Because it's built to like focus on the ring. And most of these arenas are like for basketball and shit, right? And stuff like that, and concerts. And so this is specifically for wrestling. I will get there. I've been to Mexico City many times, but he kind of compared it to death, actually. And quite clearly it was his idea. He has a smile on his face while he's tapping out. It is a little weird. Russo did raise this point. It's a little weird.
Shouldn't have smiled.
Yeah, the smile and the tap out. He compared it to fading away, and it was the end of a career, almost like an end of a life well lived, right? And with a smile on your face, and all your friends around you, and everything. And he saw all of his family and fans out in the crowd, and he was just fading away, right? With a career well done, which I mean, that's kind of poetic, the way he put it. Now, Russo did raise a good point. You don't really tap out to a sleeper. You go to sleep. That is a fair point to make. I don't know how many times I've seen somebody tap out to a sleeper. I'm sure it's happened, but usually you pass out, right? They'll do the arm.
Sometimes with DiBiase, they would tap, but later the arm would fall, and then more dramatic.
Yeah, what was his? The $1 million. What was his called? I can't remember. It was like a underhook sleeper. I forget. $1 Million Dream. That's what it was called. And so yeah, that was a fair point, but I was fine with it. And you know, it's not like they did. There's this theory that Triple H, buried him on purpose and all this stuff. I don't really think so. But also, he's 17-time world champion. All these other accolades, made all kinds of money. It's not
Only
like,
past Flair's record.
huh?
Flair had 16, right?
Yeah, he beat Flair's record. That's why they gave him one more, so he would have the record, which was bullshit, actually. Flair should still have the record. But anyway, that's just the old school
He
fan.
can still come back.
Yeah. don't let him hear that.
Give him a hardcore title or something.
Yeah, don't let him hear that. I
remember when it was 24 hours for that belt, anyone could pin anyone anywhere.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I was fine with it, but I've listened to some criticisms as well that I've taken on board, but I still like it, especially after I heard Cena describe it and why he had this smile on his face. It wasn't like a rib. It was just like, I've done it all. I could keep going, but it's time to go now. I could fight a little bit more, right? Like you're in the hospital bed. He compared it to death. And you're in the hospital bed and you've done everything you wanted to do, right? And smile on your face. And that kind of hit in the feels a little bit there. So I was fine with it. I don't know. I think you were too.
I agreed with it. You have to pass the torch. I know it's supposed to be controversial. But that's what sells.
Yeah,
some people are gonna hate it.
Triple H.
I did not agree with breaking the Undertaker streak. Brock didn't need it.
Well, that was the point. It shouldn't have been Lesnar. That was the thing, in my opinion. I was fine with it getting broken, but I don't think it should have been Lesnar. But also, there's some questionable booking. There's no reason to have Lesnar destroy Cena in 9 minutes in September. I don't get that one. There's a couple questionable things. The Travis Scott Rock stuff I mentioned, that just falling off. How one day, just like a week before, or actually the weekend before, I think, the SummerSlam match with Cody just turned face, just in one show. And they were kind of teasing it a couple times during the CM Punk match and other times.
Cody Rhodes is going to be a Street Fighter.
Huh? Yeah, he is. And so is 50 Cent.
50
Cent's going to be in it. And so is Roman Reigns. So, yeah, they got a wild cast. But, yeah, there were some questionable booking decisions over the course of the year. But how much of that was Triple H's fault and how much was The Rock's fault? I don't know. But yeah, I like the final match. I know some people were pissed off, but whatever, cry about it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. We talked about
river to the sea.
Yeah, we talked about doing a wrestling show one time. We might actually have to strike up discussions.
I'm down, man. Like I'm not gonna retire, but like with these like Candace cult retards, it's it's such a pain in the ass to deal with that level of stupidity. Like even pro wrestling is more intellectual than talking about
it's way more intellectual than what Candace Owens is talking about, and it's not even close. Especially the backstage of the business, the history of the business itself, and the players of the game. And I mentioned the Memphis territory where Cornette came from, and all these other territories, which I'm a big student of that stuff too. Not as big as Cornette, but I'm from Memphis, so like it's kind of in my blood.
Is a library for early wrestling.
It's wild. And all that. It's wild. But yeah, even just, an hour or so every week or two would be fun. But let me see.
I love wrestling, so like I'm okay to record some shows.
All right.
Why not?
All right. Yeah. I'll hit you back up on that because
I got to bounce though. It's 10
I know.
something. But
I was going to say we got through everything here. Plug your stuff, brother.
Yeah, like the new movie RyanDawson.org. It's the pinned one. Is 4 hours on 9/11. It rips Israel a new asshole. It's free on RyanDawson.org. And then if you go to Anti-Neocon, you can get gear. And we got our lovely ladies and things on the calendar. So the RyanDawson.org has everything. That's where you want to go. I'm covering Venezuela, Ukraine, all the current events, but I'm going to America here soon too. going to Florida again. Got some projects that I'm going to be working on. I got to do things outside of politics to make money because like Twitter's fucked. Like since September, it's just been fucked.
It has been.
And so I really just have Substack. So I've been doing bear hunts. I don't know if you knew about that. Japan has a bear problem. Killed 13 people.
No shit.
So we had to go. Yeah, 13 dead and over 200 injured. And millions in damages. They're coming down and eating all the apples. Like thousands of bears. Thousands.
What? No, I somehow
Not
missed
know
that.
this?
No, I missed this.
So look up Japan bear problem. It's insane. On my Substack, I've got some video of the bears and stuff.
That's fucking crazy, bro. But thank you for coming back on. It's a pleasure, Sarah. It's always fun to talk to you. It's been a while.
Isn't that weird? Like I know all this stuff about politics, but like now I can make more money hunting bears. What we're doing.
Well, fuck it. Then go kill some fucking bears.
I know Jeremy McKenzie wanted to come with me. I was like, I don't think he can get out of Canada.
He made it to Mexico though.
But did he?
Yeah, we had dinner in May here in Merida. Actually, him and his girlfriend, who's also amazing. And
there might be one more bear hunt. We're hoping they'll hibernate soon, but it's really warm. They weren't enough acorns. That's why they're coming in. One of them went into a mall. We shot that one, but I didn't shoot it, but it got shot. It was in the mall for like 2 hours, just doing what it wants. Because most people, the guns they have can't kill a bear. You know, Japan's not big on that, so they had to send in knit squads. It's mostly following the bears around with drones and then trying to trap them. But the original traps they put out, it worked at first, and then the bears adjusted. The bears were learning. That's scary.
Theo did say,
We
okay,
gotta shoot 'em.
this is kind of funny, I guess. I guess he's taking a shot, but did you use a bow and arrow or a tomahawk? He said, when you killed.
Oh, yeah. Tomahawk all the way on a bear. You're right.
Probably not a good idea to try to kill a bear with a tomahawk. But yeah, what do you kill them with though? Like you said, they don't have that type of
308s, but and then we have tranquilizers too. But
yeah.
their hide is such that
It doesn't.
you
always
need to
knock
really
them out.
light them up.
Yeah.
And then if we dart them, as they say, then they euthanize them later, just lethal injection. They don't shoot them. But if it's in the mall or
You
on
gotta
a
kill
farm,
them.
you gotta shoot it.
Yeah.
There's no time.
You gotta kill it. Well, I think we killed it tonight, sir. So thank you.
Awesome, man.
And sorry we got mixed up on the time. That happens with us sometimes because of the
That it's especially yeah. But I don't mind bashing brown pig, and I hope that sticks.
I hope it sticks too, and I hope you stick around, and we'll talk more about that wrestling show because I think that it would be very easy for you and I to sit and talk for wrestling for an hour, like
Mount Rushmores and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'd be the easiest thing in the world. Anyway, take it easy. RyanDawson.org. Thank you, sir. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
So. Ryan Dawson here live on the kill stream. Give him a round of applause while I kill the multi-screen there. I really enjoyed that. Great interview, Mo said. I thought so too. And not to, pat myself on the back, but this is a guy, well, we talked a lot. We had a time where we argued too. I remember we had a little beef going there for a minute. Just two OGs. If you've been around long enough, you'll argue shit like that. And then last fall, I had him booked, and I saw the usual suspects going at me. Shockingly, I